Hey.
Hi.
Hello. Welcome back, Misfits, and welcome back to a new episode. Today, we're starting a new series.
New series.
Yeah. So we're starting a new series talking about the holidays. And we've never done a series like this before, but the episodes are going to come out closer to when the actual holiday dates are.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's a series, but they're not going to come out back to back.
Yes.
It's going to be spread out close to the holidays that we're going to talk about.
Right, exactly. So in between, we'll continue to release regular episodes. And the purpose of the series is not to condemn you, but to inform you.
Yeah, we just want to provide some information, some context to some of these holidays.
Yes, definitely. So we just wanted to start out by saying that we are responsible for our actions, whether we know what we're doing or we're participating in or not. So we're about to get real teachy about these holidays, so you can make up your own choice if you want to continue participating in them or not.
Right.
Yeah, but like everything else we share, the choice is yours.
Right.
Yeah. And in this episode, we're going to talk about Halloween. And we want to talk about how we got here and discuss a history versus modern day view of Halloween.
Yeah. The holidays. Yeah.
Yes. And another part of, or something that we wanted to state was that every article that we used to basically put this episode together, we're going to link it in the show notes in case anyone wants to read them or like dig a little deeper, read it for yourself or whatever, so you can make your own decision. They'll be in the show notes.
Yeah. Just so you know where we got our information from.
Yes. So remember that at the end of the day, it is your relationship with God, and you need to be honest and ask the Holy Spirit what it is that you should do when it comes to this particular holiday, which is Halloween, or any other holiday that we're about to talk about. Yes. So we'll start with some Bible and then dive into the history. So Ephesians 5:11, and this is in the NLT, it says, "Take no part in the worthless deeds of evil and darkness. Instead, expose them." Galatians 5:19 through 21 says, "When you follow the desires of your sinful nature, the results are very clear. Sexual immorality, impurity, lustful pleasures, idolatry, sorcery, hostility, quarreling, jealousy, outbursts of anger, selfish ambition, dissension, division, envy, drunkenness, wild parties, and other sins like these. Let me tell you again, as I have before, that anyone living that sort of life will not inherit the kingdom of God." Paul, man. Yeah.
Paul's got some words.
Yeah. So having said that, let's dive in and talk about Halloween. So to start it off, just so you know, Halloween is a pagan holiday. The dictionary defines pagan as a person holding religious beliefs other than those of the main world religions. So for us and for the context of this episode, pagan is defined as a person whose beliefs are not those of Christianity. So let's get into it. So the word paganism is a term first used in the 4th century by early Christians for people in the Roman Empire who practiced polytheism, or the worship of many gods, or ethnic religions other than Judaism. Now, we wanted to warn you, there is a lot of information about the origins of Halloween, but we'll try to condense it as much as we can. That's what we tried to do here. Although this is about to be dense. Yeah. So the root of Halloween comes from a 3-day ancient pagan Celtic festival called Samhain, which is actually spelled Samhain, but it's actually pronounced Samhain. This festival marked the end of summer and kicked off the Celtic New Year. The Celtic New Year represented both death and rebirth, the death of the harvest season and the birth of winter. So during this festival, the world of the gods was believed to be made visible to humankind, leading to supernatural tricks and trouble. Ghosts of the dead and spirits from other world were also thought to return to the earth during this festival. So to satisfy the gods, the Celtic people basically made sacrifices, generally of crops and animals. They were burned in bonfires as a protective measure from the evil otherworldly beings, and offerings were left out for other visiting mischievous spirits. Tricks and pranks were often played, but blamed on fairies and spirits during the 3-day period when the line between the two worlds blurred. So a teaching moment here, we see a lot of these like quote unquote sacrifices in the Bible when people were sacrificing their children and animals to gods like Baal. So,
and these people were also referred to as pagan.
Right. Yeah. So these were pagan worshipers, just like these Celtic people were.
Correct. Yeah.
So at these bonfires, fortune telling, aka divination, which the Bible speaks against, was done alongside sacrifices, and many participants also wore costumes, often masquerading as animals or beasts, in the hopes of fooling spirits who might want to harm them. So people used to wear costumes because basically these like spirits and ghosts or stuff, they came to play tricks on people or like do whatever they said they were going to do. So people wore costumes to hide from them basically and just like protect themselves or whatever. Yeah. So here we see the beginning and use of costumes and what they were really used for. Yeah.
So as Christianity was spreading and the birth of the Catholic Church. Around 43 AD, many of Celtic traditions, like Samhain, were reframed with a Christian narrative in an attempt to capitalize on the popularity of the pagan practices while spreading the new religion. So pagan holidays were adopted by Christians to kind of help spread and popularize and, you know, get people to want to join Christianity.
Yeah, like, Christian. Hey, come over and be a Christian. We celebrate this.
Yeah. Kind of like, hey, we're similar.
We're normal, just like you.
Exactly. Yeah. So some Roman holidays were incorporated with the Celtic ones. So, for example, Feralia, which is a day in late October when the Romans traditionally commemorated the passing of the dead. Another one was a day to honor Pomona, which was the Roman goddess of fruit and trees. So, a little teaching moment, the symbol of Pomona is the apple. And the incorporation of this celebration into Samhain probably explains the tradition of the whole bobbing for apples that is usually, you know, associated with Halloween.
Yeah, that's so interesting though.
Yeah.
That it came from that far back.
And isn't like palm is like Latin or something for apple. So
is
Pomona.
It? Oh,
that makes
yeah.
sense.
Okay, that makes sense. But it's interesting how they did. It's like the Celtic holiday or festival or whatever, and then the Romans had their own, and they just kind of made a hodgepodge of something. Exactly.
Like, we'll take your thing and we'll take our thing and
then we'll make
a game of it.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, that's interesting. So in May 13th in the year 609, Pope Boniface the Fourth declared a celebration called All Saints' Day, also called All Hallows or All Hallowmas, like Christmas?
Yeah.
That's interesting. Or All Hallowmas. The day before, it was known as All Hallows Eve. And the festival was a day to honor Christian martyrs and saints. And later, in the mid-8th century, Pope Gregory III strategically moved the celebration from May 13th to November 1st. And that was coinciding with the time Samhain would have been held. It was during this time that participants in the new version of the holiday celebrated in kind of the same manner as the Celtics did, with the bonfires and the costumes, and they reflected on the spiritual and the otherworldly beings. So they would, you know, do the whole offering of food, which, you know, we can relate that to candy, and then other goods to protect themselves from these spirits and ghosts that they believed were around. So eventually this All Hallows Eve evolved into Halloween. And so now the pagan turned a Christian practice of dressing up in costume and playing pranks and handing out candy is what has evolved into Halloween, even for those who may not believe in these other spirits or saints.
Yeah.
It's just kind of evolved from what that was.
Right. Like, regardless if you believe in spirits and ghosts and saints and all this other stuff, the holiday is still the same. Like, it just has those roots.
Like, you may not know that that's where it came from, but that's where it is.
Yes.
And
that's how it's
being
evolved.
Practiced, and that's where it evolved from.
Yeah.
So eventually Halloween made its way to America, and as the beliefs and customs of different European ethnic groups and the American Indians meshed, then we get distinctly like the American version, right, of what Halloween is. So like all these different things merged together.
Right.
And so the first celebrations, I guess here in America, is what they called play parties, and it's where neighbors would like share stories of the dead, tell each other's fortune, dance, sing. That kind of makes sense because a lot of people say like those scary stories, right? Around the bonfire,
around the campfire, exactly.
So you kind of see the relation of how that evolved from those times. So in the late 1800s, there was a move in America to mold Halloween into a holiday about, you know, try to change it up and kind of make it more about community and, you know, being more neighborly and more about get-togethers and than really focusing on like the whole ghosts and pranks and witchcraft about it. But really the roots of all that is still there. And we actually still see it.
Yeah.
I just think the focus is trying to be shifted towards a more community.
Right. It's like everything is still there, but like you said, the focus is different. So like I'll have ghouls and creepy stuff on my lawn, but
Right.
then I'll have a Halloween party for my kids and their friends.
Or we talk about like,
Yeah.
oh, it's just, you know, for the kids to get together.
Yeah.
And try to put the focus on that aspect of it. So at the turn of the century, Halloween parties for both children and adults became the most common way to celebrate the day. So today, Americans spend an estimated $6 billion on Halloween. And this actually makes it the second largest commercial holiday right after Christmas.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's a lot of moolah.
Yeah, that's crazy. So with this episode, we just wanted to educate everyone and ourselves really about the roots of Halloween and what it means, where it came from, and just so you know specifically if you celebrate Halloween, what it is that you're participating in and where it came from, right? What the roots of it were, how it was very spiritual, and it was about, you know, basically because the spiritual world is real, right? So it was all these spiritual stuff crossing into our world, hiding from them, and all this other stuff. So we just hope that you enjoyed this episode and that you learned something that maybe you didn't know. So just keep an eye out for the episodes as the holidays come up, and we're going to be doing this into next year. So there's going to be quite a few holidays that we're going to talk about. And if there are any holidays that maybe we haven't talked about or whatever as the episodes come out and you're interested in them.
We're going to do like the major ones, which
Yes.
I'm sure you know what they are. But if there's any that you just want to make sure that we do talk about, like go ahead and let us know.
Yeah, definitely.
And if it's not on our list, we'll look into it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we definitely want to just touch on it just for our understanding, and we want to share that with you all as well.
Yeah, exactly. So we hope that you enjoyed this episode. And as always, this is Fran.
This is Yadi.
We are the Midtown Misfits, and we will see you next week. Bye.
Bye.